on the bench, like faded as hell. And I just heard like, stop everything.
Hi, my name is Isabel Donnelly. Welcome to The Sober Spell. Today I'm here with Marissa Roer. For the people that do not know you, who are you?
Hello, I am Marissa. I'm a multi-hyphenated creative wellness advocate. I am Italian and Jewish and Polish and Russian, and I'm a Libra.
Do you do a 23andMe, or is that like just tracing back the lines?
No, that's just, what I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what my mom did that, 'cause she's like 50% Sicilian, technically, but Sicily's also like literally anything under the sun. Like barely even Italy's like, that's not me, So it was
it's
just
Italy's Australia.
Yeah, it was all over the place. What is multi-hyphenated?
So I have many creative avenues. I started my career as a singer-songwriter. Then I went into documentary film. I do graphic design, marketing, branding, event production. I wear many hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a day planner? How do you keep that all like straight? That's a lot.
I do. I have a lot of to-do lists. Day planner would be great, but I would get too hard on myself if I like missed a day, so I have like not that much structure, you know what I mean? I just have a blank page.
Yeah, too much rigidity.
That makes me feel safe and free.
Thank God. Yeah, or like the Notes app.
Oh, I have like 23,000 notes.
And the Notes app isn't enough. I have to I do the Notes app and then I screenshot it, because I know I'll go back into my photos, so when I look at my cat or something.
Or God forbid it deletes.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Then I won't know where I am. Then I had a day planner once, and I wrote down, it was a Friday, and I wrote down Friday at 2, but I didn't put what or where. And I was like, nothing can save me from the disorganization.
I know. And then they're now coming up. So I live with a cyborg. My partner of 12 years is super tech guy, and he's like, they're just coming out with this AI. You wear it and you'll never forget any of the details, and they'll track everything and give you a spreadsheet for the end of the day. I was like, that sounds great and scary.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to say where you went before, I'd be supportive if you were like, yeah. But no, that sounds really frightening. I don't know that I want... what do you mean you wear it? Is it like glasses? Is it just
I think there's multiple now. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah.
You see the ads in the subway for Friend, which I don't really know about.
I've seen that, yeah.
That's a wearable. And I think this one's also a wearable. And I don't know, future, I got my Oura Ring. I had an Apple Watch, and then I got a rash. But the wearables are coming. The wearables, I don't know if that's TMI, but...
Well, what do you have to say, Apple? I know you're listening.
Is it the tech or is it the rubber? It's really my question.
Comment down below. Yeah. Have you also gotten a rash from a tech product?
And if you sponsor me, I won't say anything.
Yeah, then I'll keep this. We'll delete this, and it's fine.
Yeah. But I actually I think AI is a really fun conversation, because I'm super conflicted. I think it can really help and advance intellect, and it can also be a crutch and diminish intellect. It all depends with intention and how you use it.
Yeah, it almost feels because I'm in school right now too, and so a lot of times it's I go to use my brain, and I'm it feels like I'm trying to almost like the crank windows on cars. I'm trying to roll a window down really manually. And so it'll be easier just to put it in, but also I want to learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the reason we have you here today is to go over Altrd. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Altrd is a sober rave, and it's a holistic nightlife experience for New York City. And I'm designing it to be adjacent with the New York City nightlife scene as a whole. So it can really be an alternative for people rather than an adjacent space, or it can fill all those boxes of nightlife culture without the alcohol and without... I like to keep them earlier in the night because beauty rest is a thing. So it's just a holistic nightlife experience, because I feel like a lot of people, and this is why I created it, I felt a big split between people who are really health conscious and high performing professionals, and where does that overlap? And it's not in the yoga space. We saw it in COVID, the yoga studios all left. And And, high performing professionals are getting up at 4 a.m., but like I think it's still healthy to go out and dance and to be in community and listen to good music and move your body in a non-rigid way. So this is a way to fill that white space of where do we go to party when we actually care about our bodies.
I like that you said move your bodies, and like, because I'm a big mindful movement or like joyful movement person. I think with the rigidity of, also, we were talking a little bit about before with like the balance of how it can become extreme and like disordered behaviors, etc. Like if I'm at a gym, I'm looking at the calories that are being counted and I'm becoming mentally ill more so by the minute. And so if I'm like dancing, or like even I have like a tiny trampoline I'll jump on, like just like stuff like that joyful movement. And dancing is so fun. I think there is, have you seen a lot of success? And like I'm imagining there are a lot of people who've approached you and they're like, this is an awesome idea.
Yeah, it perks a lot of ears. I think a lot of the questions I have are like, how do you know this will be successful? And I was like, I don't, but I know it's something that I want, and that's why I do it, and that's why I create it, because it's something that I desire and I seek out and I can't find. So a lot of people are excited. And from people who drink, like I'll be at a networking party or event and people will all be drinking. I'll be with my seltzer and they'll all be drinking and they'll be like, wait a second, this is great. So it's like my intention is not really just curated for the non-alcoholic community or the sober community, but it's just an alternative for anyone, any walk of life who just wants something different. And I find that breath work and meditation can be really intimidating for a lot of people to break into. There's a lot of dogma. There's so many teachers. There's so many apps. Where do I start? And if you just bring them onto the dance floor and it's like, hey, just breathe and dance and listen to the music and get into a trance and fly away, they're like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And like my goal is to plant a seed and ignite a spark for those practices to be integrated into their life however they see fit.
And dancing is so consistently, like being sober myself and working in a sobriety space, dancing is such a, like, creates so much anxiety for people who are sober. Because a lot of times we're used to like relying on some sort of substance to do it. And it feels incredibly vulnerable, like in a way doing that. And it's hard not to judge yourself or think other people are judging you. And so giving people a space where it's like, everybody is also doing the same thing and taking essentially the same risk, like that same vulnerability that you are. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of value and comfort in that and getting people out of their way.
Yeah. And giving people the permission slip to be like, how about you be the most judged? Like, how weird and how silly can you be? And how much can you just not care?
100%. That's when we go to when I've been to weddings in the past. Before I was like okay with dancing, I've gotten to the point where I'm fine with it now. But there was this one guy that danced like really, really weird and just didn't care. And so we just mimicked what he was doing. And so it made it like we were doing it as a group, and then it felt fine to do. Yeah,
it's always the weird ones that are activating the dance floor. It's contagious. It's fun. It's liberating. Who cares? We take life so seriously. Like, why don't we just drop those walls and facades on the dance floor and just hang?
And so from inception, like when you first had this idea, how long did it take to create this company essentially?
Great question. So I got the idea on the Peloton at 11 p.m.
Oh, this is, so you remember, like it's like when lightning struck.
Oh yeah, I saw a UFO.
Yeah, on the Peloton looking out the window.
Yeah, I was like, is that a UFO?
Yeah.
I still don't know, but it's part of the story. It was a UFO.
I believe you. I believe women.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And I had just gotten back from India, and I think I was like watching Robin Arson, who I love. Shout out to Robin. And there was just like, there's in the yoga space, which is where I've been for so long, there's like, there's so much like expectation to like talk with a soft voice and like be hyper feminine. And like I am those things, but I'm also like, get to fucking work.
Yeah.
And when I listened to Robin Arson, I'm like, yes. And she was like, I was on the bike and like I was so in, I did a training in Kundalini yoga. So that's breath work and movement. And I was like so in that mindset that when the music was going, I was like doing some of the breath work and some of the movements. And I was like, whoa, this feels good.
Yeah.
And immediately the tagline came into my consciousness: lift yourself onto the altar to alter your reality, and the dance floor being the altar. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, no one's ever done a play on words with alter, like step to the altar and alter your reality. And it's just one letter switch. And
yeah.
like I said, I love branding, and I love words. And I just thought that was brilliant. And then within like, I don't know, a few days, I got the domain, I made the website, I started the Instagram, the aesthetic came to me, and I just started creating, and I started doing these beta rounds where I would get a small group of people together, and we would do the methodology that I was creating from scratch, but it was built off of all of the schooling that I've done within mindfulness and yoga and meditation, and it's kind of just like cherry picked the things that I loved and like repurposed them in this sort of format that I call Altrd. And I would get a few people together, and we would try it out and ask them questions of like, okay, do you feel high? Do you feel like you're on drugs? And like some people would be like, yeah, like I feel like I just had mushrooms. So I'm like, there we go. That's what we're going for.
That's cool. And it's also a cool lesson for people who, so there are a lot of people who have like these ideas, or there is this need that isn't being fulfilled that they might see, but it feels so distant as a reality to be like, well, I'm going to start my own thing, or I'm going to get on this and take initiative in that way. Like that feels impossible, I feel like, in a large way. You just distilled it so perfectly. Like obviously it took a lot of work, but you're like, yeah, I had this idea. I saw a UFO. I did a play on words. I'd imagine if you love words, you'd be great at Scrabble. Is this true?
I'm not a great speller, but yes, I do like
tough.
I do like Scrabble.
Okay.
I do need to like check myself though.
Well, yeah, of course. Who doesn't?
Yeah, no, I'm spelling. I was not hooked on phonics.
Well, that's why when you have like Grammarly or something, when I'm typing, I'm always the stuff that I misspell. I'm like, I should know this. I learned how to spell the word business when I was 18.
Yeah.
I remember this specifically because I felt great shame at the time.
I get it. I was creating a deck in like a public space, and I had I just typed it, and it was the smallest word, and this is so embarrassing, but I don't care. And I spelled tier wrong. It was like sponsorship tiers.
Yeah.
And some man, gotta love him, goes, you spelled tears wrong, and I'm like, it wasn't even done yet.
Yeah. You want
my... It like just totally triggered me, but I was like, honestly, thank you.
Yeah, and you're like, I want my sponsors crying.
Yeah.
It was correct, actually. How dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
And so when did you have your first event?
So we launched in September, but I had done like 6 micro events before then.
Okay.
And then our next one is New Year's Eve.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And so how do you go about finding spaces?
That's the toughest part.
I bet, yeah.
Collaborating with sober curious spaces, I really like what I'm gearing for is I really want the like old warehouse rave aesthetic to be alive. So finding vacant buildings, which like I'm still like there's so much, it's New York City, like there's so much rules and regulations, and I did take a real estate exam, but I don't know anything about it. Yeah. So like, you know, I'm still working out the kinks of like how to repurpose spaces for nightlife, and it's a learning curve, and I'm learning along the way and messing up along the way, but continuing to go.
And this is an awesome resource to know about too, because obviously in my role, like we deal with a lot of clients who have a lot of different needs, and going back to the city in itself is a massive trigger for so many people, especially when they're so used to being a part of nightlife, like going out, partying, having all of this. And so having a way to do that is safe, but still brings them like, because there is a high in just like dancing, like being with other people, just experiencing. Also music, like music is such a spiritual experience. Anytime I'm like at a live show, I'm just like, which is amazing. I saw a meme on Instagram where this girl was talking about how she thought that like she was going to church as a kid, and she was like, oh my God, it was like a mega church, and she was like, wow, I love God, this is so moving. And then she went to her first concert, and she's like, oh, it's just live music. Like that's literally what it is.
Yeah. And you boil it down to the science, like the oxytocin of coming together and doing something together. And that's kind of what I did is I looked at nightlife. I looked at these holistic practices. I was like, okay, where are the through lines of like the neurobiology and the chemistry here that, not really chemistry, but we can call it chemistry, but neuroscience here that like we can synthesize to create a mind altering experience that's holistic and isn't actually depleting dopamine or serotonin, but building up the brain's capacity to foster it and hold it.
Hi, I'm Ricky, recovery support clinician. Mountainside's Bespoke Recovery offers the highest level of luxury addiction treatment. With the focus on your privacy and schedule, you'll receive intensive one-on-one therapies from our expert team. Enjoy exclusive amenities and concierge services, allowing you to seamlessly integrate healing with your life commitment.
And was any of your work prior to starting this in the health and wellness space, like adjacent to this?
So for the last 6 years, full time, I've been doing meditation coaching, intention, mindful living, and I was raised by doctors, so I was always very health conscious.
What are some specific things I find this interesting. I see it on TikTok and stuff where it's like things that my ER doctor husband cares about and doesn't care about. Like stuff where it's like, and it's like co-sleeping, don't do it. Sodium, he doesn't care. Have as much salt as you want, or like stuff like that. Do you have any specifics from childhood?
Oh, okay. Well, I never had a hot dog until I was way older, and then I had a hot dog and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, you're like,
I had tofu dogs and they had no flavor.
Yeah.
But I have been a vegetarian for 20 years, so, I had 2 hot dogs.
Yeah, that was like your Rumspringa, like for Amish. Like you're like, I'm having a hot dog.
Yeah, 1 hot dog and I'm done.
Yeah.
Enough sodium for 4 lifetimes.
Yeah.
One thing that I always find really fascinating is my parents are against organic food. They think it's a scam.
I kind of agree with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because I feel like it's like greenwashing in media where a lot of times people will be like, natural this or, organic, but it's like none of it is actually, it's just a way of attracting other buyers and trying to appeal to a different demographic.
Totally. And I think there's levels. I think like, and ultimately it depends. I think know your farmers.
Yeah. Shop local.
Shop local. That's one thing. What's another thing? They're workout fanatics, which I love. They're 70. My dad just turned 70 and went on a bike trip and like cycled 200 miles for vacation.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's like, my dad is not 70. God bless you, Jimmy. He'll be like 60 in 3 years. He's 57. I don't want to blow up his spot like that. But he still like is running marathons and doing all of this stuff. Like he's always running. He's always on the bike. We're joking around. We're like, when you start running 5Ks, we're putting you away in a home. Because that's when we know. If you're just down to a 5K, we're like, he's not well.
Yeah, he's thrown in the towel.
Yeah, that's a given up kind of move if you live the way that Jimmy lives.
The other thing my parents don't do that I find fascinating is they don't drink water.
Well, that's the thing. Are your parents from America?
Yeah.
Okay, that's even more surprising then. But that's like in other cultures, they don't drink water and they're fine. Like if you go to a blue zone, they're smoking cigarettes, they're drinking espresso, and they're living until they're 100 and they're not wearing sunscreen. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. I think the anxiety of it all, it will kill you faster than anything else.
Yeah, stress is, there's a lot of, I've looked into this, and also Mountainside, fortunately, provides a lot of training for the people that work within their company. And they talk about like the science of stress and how it shuts down like the receptors in your body that are there to stop cancer. It shuts them down. It's crazy. Or like why women predominantly struggle with autoimmune conditions. All of like it being kept in your body. Like there's so much behind it. And it's not studied very much, like the mind body, or it's not at least applied in medicine traditionally.
Yeah. I mean, if your cortisol is high and you're in fight or flight, and even if you're fighting something externally that's like, someone not really there, like because stress just is almost an invisible force, you're feeling that on a somatic level. So being in fight or flight, can be addicting. Not good.
No, not good. Bad cycle to stay in.
Yep. Yeah, my partner, he's I'm like, yeah, no, when I work out, I want to do like high intensity, like I just want to feel like destroyed after. And he's like, well, like you do need rest days. And I was like, all or nothing.
Yeah, very much so. That's even with being in like fight or flight. I had a client, I was running a group, and he walked up behind me and I was like, "Ha!" And he apologized. And I was like, I'm like, you didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, that has nothing to do. That's all me, man. Like, that's fine. But so where did your interest in health and wellness start that's brought you to this point in your career now?
That's a great question. And this will get into like the journey with sobriety and being very conscious of what I put into my body. So I had an Uncle Albert, shout out, he's the best. He gave me the book Alice in Wonderland when I was born. And he is a big yogi, into meditation, into alternative health, and he had a very big impact on my life. I was diagnosed ADHD when I was around 6 years old. I was medicated very, very young. And like the long-term impact on that I've overcome was I always thought there was something wrong with my mind. I now love my mind. I think my mind's incredible. I nourish it. I love my mind. Wasn't always like that. So in college, I had all my ADHD medication. I think I was on Adderall and Vyvanse. And I also got into alcohol and smoking weed. And I think a lot of my alcohol and marijuana use was me taking control and self-medicating and overriding the symptoms that I was feeling from the ADHD medication, which really dulled my sensitivity and creativity. And long story short, finals, and there's so much pressure in college. I abused everything: Adderall, Vyvanse, marijuana, and alcohol. And one night, I was in the quad smoking a blunt. I think definitely by myself.
Oh, I could picture this.
Yeah. On the bench, like faded as hell. And I just heard like stop everything. And I definitely don't recommend this. So I stopped cold turkey on my ADHD medication, alcohol, marijuana. And what doctors would say was psychosis. I went through this like spiraling.
What doctors would say. It's so funny, but yeah, keep going.
But it was really just a flooding of, of creativity and of sensitivity. My neurochemistry was so out of whack, and it was like going the opposite direction. And I think there's like a spiritual lens that I can look at. Like this was like a rebirth of my brain and my mentality and my identity. And I think like we're all very intuitive and can connect to things beyond our comprehension. And in that state, I connected to a lot of things that were outside of this dimension. I was like, I didn't know where I was in space and time. Psychosis. And so my parents came and picked me up from school. They brought me to the psychiatrist, and I told her everything that I did. I was like, I tried Molly, I did that. And she goes, you made yourself bipolar. And I looked her in the face and I was like, no, I would never do that to myself. And I do have that quality of like very strong-headedness. And so I went home and I was just like, I'm going to meditate for 12 hours. I don't know if it was actually 12 hours, but it felt like 12 hours. It was a long time. And I just sat down and I just like visualized my mind. I just was like looking inside of it, seeing what was disconnected, what was jumbled, and just like reconnecting. I like to say like I was reconnecting the synapses to the neurons. I don't know if you can do that with your mind. I think you can, but doctors don't come at me. I think you can. And I fully soothed my nervous system, rewired, and came out of my room, and I was totally coherent and fine. And like had my first meal because I couldn't eat because I was so spiraled.
Yeah.
And then I went to the psychiatrist the next day, and she's like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, what did you do? And I was like, I just meditated and put everything back in order. And she's like, like, you know, it's impossible for someone in psychosis to just snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't think it was psychosis.
Yeah, probably. But either because it's when your brain, I mean, this can go for ADHD medications, antidepressants, whatever. Like if you're taking a medication for a really, really long time, it's a part of your chemistry. When that thing is removed, your brain's going to be like, what the fuck? You know?
I think it was just depletion and then like a resurgence.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. And that's also, I don't know, like with spirituality too, they always talk about how like listening to like your higher power, like praying is talking, meditating is listening. So I totally understand like the value of that. I've never, God bless you, 12 hours, give or take. I know you said like maybe, like you weren't keeping count at that point.
It was a long time. I have done a 12-hour sit though.
That's do you do bathroom breaks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, how do we?
No, you transcend all bodily functions.
I was like, oh my God, you got to tell me about
breathing,
this.
You start levitating.
Yeah, I'm like, I hate having to pee on the train. Maybe you can teach me how to like lock in and not do that. Yeah, we'll talk after. But yeah, so then that transferred into your sobriety journey?
Yeah, and my meditation journey. So after that, I realized how susceptible my mind was to anything external. So I rarely engage in anything external, just because it depletes my mind so much and it's not worth it. And meditation since has been my non-negotiable. I start every day with it if I'm lucky enough. If Wednesday doesn't have a new season, I'll end my night with meditation. So yeah, it had a big impact, a positive impact, in the grand scheme of things.
And so that probably led to influencing the inception of this. And have you found a community of people, like like-minded people who have had similar experiences to you?
I've found a few people that have had some sort of experience like this, but a few, yeah. I don't tell that many people. Like it's in scenarios like this where like I do want to be transparent about it, because there are people that are like, oh, I went through that and like I'm not crazy. Like this one thing didn't define me. It refined me. Like I love talking about it in spaces like this. But yeah, I'm not someone that like talks about like these big things that happen in my life. I like try to keep it. There's big things that happen in my life, like walking here, you know?
Yeah. No, totally. And also it's like, that's like crazy to lead with too. It's like small talk and you're like, can I tell you?
Yeah.
About a time a doctor told me I had psychosis and gave myself bipolar.
Yeah. See, I don't really want to open with that.
Yeah, that's like not, that's like second date.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Though I did tell one person when I first like met them, and he had like the best response ever that is in my back pocket. And he's like, well, this is what the sages spoke about in India, of these like gurus that like would be able to like, you know, whatever. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's a great hit for my ego. Yeah. So
you're like, I transcended everything. I was meant to be here.
Yeah, they wrote about me in those history books.
Yeah. Oh my God. Congrats. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We miss you. Yeah, I would imagine finding a like-minded community too, because there are so many people now. Like, we're in a time where sobriety is trendy and people are getting sober, not just for like crippling like alcohol and addiction issues, but just because it's like not good for your health. Like alcohol is a carcinogen, like period. And so a lot of times people are looking for something like this and also creating a community around it. Like more than ever, we see like mocktail bars entirely and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just drink because it's like the cultural thing to do. Yeah. And like we mirror each other. It's just how our brains work. And when you're in a scenario where whether it's not even the option, the little part of you that feels uncomfortable or self-conscious isn't the one going for the drink. It's like it now can have a place to process and die. Like when you stop drinking in social settings, you become confident, period.
Yeah. And it is so ingrained. Like that was my experience when I started. I've gone through dating app phases in sobriety, as one does. Yeah. We all have to hit that bottom. This is obviously before I was married. I don't do that now. That would be fucked up. But anytime being over 21, anytime anyone was like, oh, do you want to go? It was always, without fail, 10 out of 10 times, do you want to go grab a drink? And then you have to have that awkward, like, I don't drink, I can go, and I'll like have a seltzer or something. And then they're like, whoa. And so it's just so like baseline, like default, oh, we're going to go do that.
Yeah, I can't relate. I've been in partnership for 12 years, but I can't imagine, because I can't. But like sober dating, that sounds, no, I could do it.
I believe you could do anything. But
Thanks.
it is, you've got this. But it is like a scary and weird situation. And that's like a lot of people coming through treatment. Not only is it like the party, but it's always like that too, where it's like, what am I going to do for dating?
The main thing that comes into my consciousness is like, wow, like the fear of intimacy and the fear of intimacy upon meeting new people. Like alcohol breaks that, so you can like really connect, because it takes away that, self-consciousness or that fear or that anxiety. But ultimately underneath that, it's like, I think we all have a little bit of fear of intimacy. It's hard to be vulnerable and to like really be seen. And I think there's such a liberation that like when you just speak your story, speak your truth, and like not care. Like we're all human. Like there's something in everyone's story that we can relate to.
Yeah, there's something performative about existing in a lot of different spaces. And that's why I do like the going back to with Altrd, like stripping that away and just being raw.
Totally.
And so we're at the beginning, like this started in September. In like 10 years, where do you want Altrd to be?
I see it in two avenues. Like I'd love for it to be in the corporate space. I'd love for it to be integrated in corporate retreats or corporate after hours. So instead of having a cocktail mixer, you're dancing and you're connecting on still a professional level, but like you bring back humanity into corporate lifestyle. I think there's so much pressure and performance and stoicism in corporate lifestyle that it like strips people from their humanity, and I think that's why so many people are depressed. So bringing it to corporate is really something that is very high on my to-do list. And then I see the other avenue of like it being incorporated into festivals, and it being like a touchstone of like, hey, like I know like drug culture is very high in festivals, but you can just like vibe off your own energy, and you can vibe with just people who are also sober, and like hear the breath work that you could do during the sets if you want to like a little uplifting, and like starting a festival or like having Altrd intermittently throughout festivals to have the breath work be a replacement for drugs. I can see that being a success.
And it's cool having a sort of respite like that in music. So it's like, I personally am not a big Grateful Dead person, but I am around many Grateful Dead people and that are like big into the wharf rats, and so like having that kind of safe space where everyone can be in recovery and still be like totally just like killing it on the dance floor and like getting it down.
Oh my God. People get down better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Your motor skills are much better.
Yeah. And with, oh my God, yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah, I think about like when I was, and that's one thing where I'm like, it's hard to dance sober. And I'm like, when you were dancing drunk, it was not cute either. No. Like it was like really sad probably.
Yeah. And like, no, you looked great.
I don't know.
I definitely don't know.
Yeah, no.
I was tripping all over the place.
Yeah,
havoc.
No. Falling down, thinking I'm like really amusing, but then you have that weird experience. You probably had this too, where you go to a concert and you see someone like so drunk, and you're just like,
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, and you're having those flashbacks. Oh my
But
God.
like when you know that everyone's sober and someone's just going for it, you're like, yeah. Like it's so empowering to just see people free.
Yeah, and that was at my wedding because I'm sober and my husband is like most of the people in my circle are. That's what a lot of it was. And there was one guy who was getting like freaky. I was like, whoa, it was crazy watching him go nuts.
All right.
Yeah, just like joyful movement, baby, like get down.
Yeah, that's what the dance floor is for.
And so if people want to find out and participate in this, where do they find information?
Altrd, ALTRD.NYC. That's our website. Or on Instagram, Altrd__.
Sweet. And yeah, we'll link all of this below as well. And do you want to move this outside of the city at some point? Or are you, obviously for now you're going to be in the city, but...
Yeah, I'm open to seeing like how it grows and where it wants to go. I look at businesses as entities. That's why they're called entities, and they have their own energy, and listening to it. Like it's getting a little woo woo and a little spiritual, but like I like talk to Altrd as a person. Like, what do you want? Yeah.
Sweet. Do you have like a physical representation, or is it like closing your eyes? Is there like a vase that is altered?
Oh
for
no,
you,
no, it's just like a thought form.
Yeah.
Like just
in the ether.
Energy. Yeah.
Meditating.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Well, sweet. Thank you for coming on the podcast, and I'm excited to see where this goes. There's definitely, like you said, a big need for it, and I think it's really cool to have as a resource and a way to just experience.
Amazing. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, Mountainside can help. Call 860-365-6764 to speak with our caring treatment team.